We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 661, which coincidentally is also the amount of points the Knicks won by last game. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Good. I think the Knicks are 7-3 in the last 10 games.
They are, yes.
Yes. And what did we learn about the Knicks this week, Jay?
We learned that maybe you shouldn't judge a trade within the first 10, 15 games of a season.
I think that's what we learned last night. I think what we learned is that if your opponents are missing half of their players, we will lose, barely win, or blow you out.
Right. Yeah, three
What a
straight games where a completely decimated team the Knicks played and three different outcomes.
Right. Like Dallas, they don't have Luka. They don't have they're missing so many players tonight. We lose. The Hornets are missing everyone. We barely beat them, and then we beat the living crap out of the Pelicans. What a weird week since last show.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange week. I am excited about Bridges' coming out party.
Yes. Yes, he has come. He is transitioning into a good player.
Yes. So,
Yes.
I mean, we knew it was coming. He didn't just fall off a cliff in year 7 of his career when he's still in his 20s. It was an adjustment period. So I'm hoping that the corner has been turned. There might still be some growing pains. I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't good next game, but I'm hoping that this was the turning point in the season.
Right. Tibbs was praising everything he was doing. He liked his cutting. He liked his defense. Obviously, his 3-point shooting was kind of awesome. So I guess with Bridges, do you think he's gotten so much? Is it just because of how much the Knicks traded for him, or what do you think the issue has been? Why has he been so bad, and why are fans so hard on him?
I think he's been bad because he was just finding out how to fit into the offense, because he's used to he was the number one option on the Nets. He was probably the second, maybe third option in Phoenix, and now he's almost an afterthought in the offense. So it was probably an adjustment period trying to figure out how to play with that team. And sometimes guys just go through slumps. You'll see Curry have a bad game or two, or Jokic. So
Yeah.
It happens. It's not. I don't think it's anything crazy. It was a little bit longer than we would have liked. But also, all the people that irrationally hated Randall had to, I guess, irrationally hate somebody else. And Bridges was the obvious candidate.
It's right. I guess with Bridges, the Knicks, it's not that they got him. They traded a lot for him. It looked like you push your chips to the center kind of move that you really we're going to go all in to get this guy. By the way, do you know what player that the Knicks had contemplated getting before they got Bridges?
Wasn't it Jonas?
No. Besides him.
Okay. Cool.
Apparently, they had at least preliminary discussions, which I just read, for Jimmy Butler, but Miami wasn't really interested.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that would have been great having a reunion of Cat and Jimmy Butler on the same team. That would have been just wonderful.
I mean, yeah, one, they didn't get along, but two, I not missing the trend of the Knicks getting a star that's way past his prime in his mid-30s right before he starts missing a ton of games.
I don't know if Butler's way past his prime, but yeah, you don't want to get you'd much rather get Bridges at this age than get Butler close to the end of his prime.
Yeah, he's got a lot of miles on him. He's not.
He does.
He's not a young player.
No. I guess with Bridges, Bridges has said like it was a lot to figure out how to fit in here. He never played with like an offensive big like Towns. When you have five guys on the floor who could all score, it's good, but it's also you also feel like now I have to like I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Right. You know Butler's 35, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna. I thought he was like 33.
No.
Not that there's a tremendous difference, but like 33 still seems like you're like 35 seems like you're kind of on the downward.
He's 35, and this is like the third straight year his stats are going down. I mean, I think he's way past his prime.
The East, by the way, does not look very. We're back to the East not looking very strong.
I thought that the conferences were getting pretty even for like a season, and now I'm like, holy crap, the East is terrible again.
I mean, obviously Boston looks great. It's still a very good shot of winning the title. Cleveland has stepped up. After them, I mean, I guess Orlando's missing Paolo. Wagner's look good without Paolo out there. Philly looks terrible. Miami's not that good. Who else is good in the East? I mean, the Knicks Knicks should need to play well and so forth, but the Knicks at the very least, the fifth seed should not be very hard to get.
Yeah, I expect Cleveland to come back down to earth. Orlando's, they've won 10 out of the last 11. Have you looked at the schedule?
No, why? They've had some easy matches, or they're about to get harder?
All easy matches.
You know, the Knicks are now the top-rated highest offensive rating in basketball, and you know who the top-rated defense is?
Who?
Orlando. And they're playing tomorrow night.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
also didn't realize that Orlando was the top-rated defense.
Yeah, the Magic have won 12 out of 13. In that span, they've played 3 teams above 500. One of them was the Suns without Durant or Beal. So
Right. Sometimes the schedule, I mean, also the Knicks aren't exactly beating anyone right now. But sometimes the schedule just works in your advantage.
Yeah.
It is surprising how well they played without Paolo there.
It is, but like I said, they've played a bunch of garbage teams.
Right. It's so one thing I was thinking about this team with Bridges is that like I know fans have been hard on him, but I don't think necessarily it's the worst thing if fans are like the adjustment period is fine. Mm-hmm. It's a long time before the playoffs. Knicks are going to make the playoffs, whether they are the second seed or the fifth seed or as long as you're top 6 seed. It doesn't matter that much. Your team just has to be really playing well come playoff time. That's playing at their peak form. And so if it takes a little while for Bridges to figure things out fully with his offense, it takes a little while to get things going, to figure things out with Mitch and Precious coming back. It's a long season.
Yeah. I still think they're going to finish second or third.
I don't know why Orlando's third in defensive rating. They're first in the East. OKC and Houston are ahead of them.
Okay,
but not by very much. It is crazy though. A Tom Thibodeau coach team is number 1 in offensive rating in the NBA,
and not good on defense.
And not even remotely good on defense. Where do you think the Knicks rank in defense right now? In defensive rating, not the most perfect stat, but
26th,
22nd.
They've moved up since last episode.
They've moved up a little bit, but still pretty darn bad.
Yeah, but we've been saying this for a while. They've been without Mitch and Precious, so I expect that number to get at least to the above 15th.
I mean, certain things are getting better. Like even their pace. They're no longer last in the NBA in pace. Well, they're second to last, so that's not very good. But their true shooting percentage, the Knicks are second in true shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Only behind Cleveland. Their true shooting percentage is 61%. There are many, many years where they don't have a single player with 61% true shooting percentage.
Yeah. I mean, their offense is great. I am hoping that everybody comes back soon because I would like to see the minutes reduced for the guys who are out there right now. But
did you start thinking last night? You're watching in the third quarter and be like, Towns hasn't come off the floor, Brunson hasn't come off the floor. the Knicks are up by like 35 points. Is Tibbs going to play these guys 48 minutes, despite being
Right.
up 35?
Yeah, so 9 minutes left. He unloaded the bench. So the magic number, we have finally cracked the code, is 40 points. The Knicks have to be up by 40 points to unload the bench. Bridges still ended up playing 36 minutes.
36. Yeah, he played a lot of minutes. I mean, it's not a lot of minutes, really. It's a lot of minutes in the blowout, basically. Tibbs has no faith whatsoever in the bench.
No, not really.
So the Knicks, they've got to. What's his name? Who's the guy in Westchester that I love? That I want not to love, but want to bring up. The guy. What's his name? The guy that used to be able to score in the NBA.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Daddier because he's in Westchester now.
No, he played in that. He didn't look that great. He didn't. I didn't see the Westchester game, but his stats weren't amazing for the Westchester game.
He had a good second half. He was like over 7 or something in the first half, and then he had a very good second half.
It's nice to see him playing though in Westchester because you need the rookies need to play games.
Yeah. If you're not going to play them in the NBA games, have them play in Westchester. TJ Warren is the guy you're talking about.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes, TJ Warren is 6'8". He can score. I know he's scoring in. I don't know how he'll be in the NBA, but he used to be a great scorer in the NBA. He's scoring like he used to in the. He's scoring really well in the G League. I think he's putting up over 20 points a game. Bring him up. Why would you bring him up?
Yeah, I think they should. He's averaging 26.4 points a game in Westchester.
On almost 50% shooting, right?
Yes, 49.7.
Yeah. You know what they said? And last night, I don't know if you caught it in the broadcast, but at the end of the game, when it was garbage time, they said Tibbs really likes Jacob Toppin's athletic ability, and I was like, come on, why does Toppin have a spot in the NBA?
Yeah,
like just give it to TJ Warren. TJ Warren might actually contribute. You are never going. There's no world where Tibbs says, I'm going to let Jacob Toppin play any important minutes.
even in that 40-point blowout, he only got in with 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
I think he was actually playing Bridges with the bench when he unloaded it for like 4 of those minutes. So I'd say give TJ Warren. I mean, he has to be able to play 10 minutes, right?
Right. We always say that. I mean, he's 6'8". I don't know. His defense could be suspect, but so is they don't have amazing options. He's still tall. Your bench, you need some more guys that can score. You need at least one more guy on the bench who could score.
You need a guy on the bench that could score, and you also need a guy on the bench that plays, because you can't just. I can't believe we're talking about Tibbs minutes, because I've been defending Tibbs minutes for the last 2 years, and now he's actually doing what everybody said he was doing for real.
This is the first time where I'm like, I've been, both of us have been such defenders of like, oh God, like everyone's going these stupid goddamn like narratives about Tibbs' minutes and blah 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 blah. Once he has the players and blah blah blah, it is getting kind of ridiculous for the minutes right now.
And still, even with that, the minutes per game aren't that crazy. Like compared
do you
to
have those
like,
up? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull them up right now. But I looked the other day, and it wasn't even that out of line with what other teams are doing. So,
because it feels like every night these guys play until they drop dead.
It does feel like that, yeah.
And there are, not that I want to do like the Golden State 12-man rotation, but it feels like we need one more player to get some minutes on the bench. Like our bench, they're pointing out that like the Knicks starting unit has putting up historical numbers in terms of like points per game, but their bench is putting up historically bad numbers per minute for points per game.
Yeah,
they're just not contributing.
Yeah.
So
Mikal Bridges is leading the league in minutes played.
Okay. Let me guess, at 39 minutes.
38.
Okay.
But De'Aaron Fox is playing 37.8. So
okay.
You got Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic was playing 37.5. So, I mean, it's not it's that
that's
much.
Not great. What are the other Knicks playing?
Josh Hart, 37.1. He's 5th.
Okay.
Then you go down to 12th, and that's OG, 36.5.
That's good. He doesn't have an injury history. Let's keep his minutes up.
And
You know
then
what the issue? Also, the thing is, the Knicks have had what slants this a little bit is the Knicks have had a few blowouts, and so those guys, their minutes, like last night, Towns played 25 minutes because the Knicks blew out New Orleans, but then there are all those games where his minutes are really high.
Towns plays the least minutes. Like, Towns actually gets rest. Tibbs trusts Sims. Like, Towns is down at 46th most minutes in the league, 33.4.
And actually, that's a pretty reasonable minutes. That's how many minutes. That sounds like the right amount of minutes for Towns. The guys that are too much right now, Bridges, OG, Josh Hart, Brunson. Where's Brunson? I bet his minutes are probably around 34. I bet they're reasonable.
Yeah, 34.5. He's 31st. So that's not bad at all.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Where's Josh Hart?
Josh Hart's 5th at 37.1.
Yeah, so Josh Hart, OG, and Mikal Bridges are problems.
But not by a lot. I mean, you're talking about like 2 minutes for OG, maybe 3 for Hart, and 4 for Bridges. Like, it's not a ton of minutes.
But again, I think this is if anything, the minutes are probably higher. If you take out 3 or 4 games, I bet the averages go up. Like, if most of the games their numbers are higher. There's just a few games with blowouts where they played less.
Well, there's going to be more blowouts. When Mitch comes back, there's going to be more blowouts. So maybe the problem will resolve itself.
His is like, we're going to solve this minutes issue by winning every game by 40 points.
Right.
It so far looks like the bench, like campaign. Tibbs seems like campaign. The other night against what was it? Which game was it that he played against Dallas? He played campaign over Bridges. That was one of the lower moments.
I think he did that 2 games in a row. I think Hornets Bridges was on the bench too.
Yeah, so that's some pretty low. And obviously that was like Bridges' rock bottom, so to speak. But now obviously he had a great game against New Orleans, so we feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to like. It's not like campaign gives you that much. McBride, I like McBride better. It's just the bench after those 2 guys is miserable.
The thing is, Payne is a pain on defense, and that's what Tibbs likes. There's a reason, like Huck Porty, he looks good on offense. His defense,
he's looked okay on defense. I know he hasn't looked. He's looked okay. His minutes have been limited since that one game.
He gets a lot of blocks, but I feel like one-on-one defense, he's fine. But like if there's any switching going on, he just has no idea where to go.
Sims, to Tibbs' credit, and Tibbs is usually right about all this stuff. He has looked he's looked very serviceable in the last 10 games. He's looked a lot better as of late.
I think he's leading the league in opponent field goal percentage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they're shooting 20-something% against him. It's weird. Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
I'm curious what happens when Precious comes back. I mean, because Precious in theory is close to coming back.
Yeah.
Mitch is still a little while. I'm curious what happens when Precious comes back. Does Sims still play?
I think Sims plays. I think once Mitch comes back, we don't see Precious anymore. We don't see Sims anymore.
But what do you think happens? How does Precious fit in? Is he the starting center? Is he coming off the bench? If he's coming off the bench, how does Precious and Sims play?
I think you stagger their minutes.
They can't be on the floor together.
Right. Well, Sims is only playing 15 minutes a game anyway. So,
right, but you're not going to be like, okay, Precious gets 8 minutes and Sims gets 7. So how are they fitting together?
You have Precious in when Towns is in, and when Sims is in, you still have OG at the 4.
Okay, so you're saying you think when Precious comes back, he is the starting center.
No, I think when Precious comes back, he's back up for OG instead of having OG play extended minute. I think he just he's OG and Hart's backup.
Okay, so you think that when Precious comes back, the starting it doesn't change.
Right.
Okay, so but then when OG leaves the floor, Precious goes on to be the power forward with Towns.
Yes.
Okay, so basically it'll be when because a lot of times what Tibbs does is that he'll have either Tibbs or Towns on the floor, not both of them for long stretches. I guess like in the second quarter, usually when he basically subs guys out, he'll first sub out Towns, and then he'll sub out Brunson and bring Towns back on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking those minutes when Brunson is off and Towns is on. I guess how many minutes is this going to be?
I don't think Brunson is part of it. So like, Towns Towns usually sits first out of all the starters. Sims goes in for him.
Yeah.
When Towns goes back in, OG sits, and that's when Precious comes in.
Okay, that's what I meant. So I was thinking about Brunson, just the fact that Brunson and Towns usually switch off as far as like they have one of those guys on offense on the floor at all times. Okay, so you think basically this means OG will get 5 less minutes a game?
Maybe OG 2 or 3, and then Hart a couple minutes less also.
Oh, okay. So Precious, hurry back. We have 6 minutes for you.
Yeah, 6 less minutes for guys that we really need to be healthy at the end of the season. That's fine with me.
Okay. Do you think it's any chance that Sims just doesn't play? Like Precious just takes over Sims' minutes?
I don't think so. I think Sims stays in the rotation until Mitch comes back.
Because Precious could really, if Sims is playing 15 minutes a game, and you want to like spell those other guys like maybe 3 or 4 minutes each, like that's like 22 minutes a game. You could probably have Precious take all those minutes. Because Precious and Sims cannot be on the floor at the same time.
Right.
It's like that's like the fox and the chicken gate thing where you have to get them across the stream. You can't put the fox and the chicken together.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, there's no way you cannot have those two guys out there unless the Knicks are up by 40 points.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Sims is playing a ton of minutes. It should be Sims played 13 minutes, 8 minutes, and 23 in the blowout. But
Precious at healthy is flat out better than Sims. Sims does not need to play if Precious is back. I'm just wondering if he still will.
Maybe. I don't know.
I also think your theory is when Mitch comes back, they'll play Towns at the 4. A lot of people have like anytime people suggest playing Towns at the 4, the response online at least is because you never get a response from the actual Knicks. The response online is that the Knicks did not bring Towns here to play the 4. Like this trade does not make sense with Towns playing the 4. I would like to see Precious at the 5 and Towns at the 4. I'd like to see some experimentation. Not the whole game, but a little bit of experimentation.
I mean, I just think that I
guess it's the same thing. If you're taking OG off the floor and bringing Precious in, if Precious and Towns are on the floor at the same time, why would Precious not play the center? Like Precious should just slide into the center position. Like he should be the one doing rim protection.
That's fine. I mean, that's just semantics.
It's not fully semantics in the sense of like Towns would have to play a slightly different like position. Like it is a little. I mean, I guess it's not that different. But you'd want hey Towns, when Precious on the floor, he's got he's our last resort. He's the guy that's going to protect the rim because you don't know how to do that.
Yeah, but if you're going to keep Towns at center, then you might as well trade Mitch.
I agree, and I think that maybe they're thinking of that. Well, I think you could look at that and go, well, if Mitch is our backup center, that's still a big advantage. Like he's better than Precious, so like you still have the bench looks better with Mitch.
But do you want a guy like Mitch playing 12 minutes a game, and then
or here's what you can do: you can play Mitch. Let's say Mitch plays 25 minutes a game, Towns plays 35 minutes a game, and there's some overlap in their minutes. 10 minutes of the game, they're on the floor together.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that. I mean, you could do. There are a lot of combinations you could do here. Obviously, there's also. I don't know if you know this, Jay, but Mitch may not come back.
Don't say that. He's coming.
I'm just. Let's be realistic. There's a slight. He's supposed to come back in January. There's not a. I mean, it's not January yet, but there's not any reports out there about how he's doing. I would love to see a healthy Mitch, but there's no guarantee that even if he comes back, he stays healthy. The guy is injured all the time. a healthy last season's the December 1st Mitch we had from last season was goddamn awesome. If you had him on the floor right now, it'd make a huge difference. But how often is Mitch healthy?
2 years ago, he was really healthy.
And then 3 years ago, he wasn't. Like he just he doesn't stay healthy very like. There's no consistency in this. Also, when he came back last year towards playoff time, he wasn't very good.
Yeah, I think that was a rush back.
I also think I don't know how much of a trade market is for a center that gets injured all the time. It's not like Phoenix is sorry. It's not like Portland is stealing lots of offers for Robert. What's his name? The guy who always gets injured that was on the Celtics. Robert Williams.
Well, Robert Williams makes Mitch look like an Iron Man.
Yes, he's injured all the time.
I mean that's got to be one of the most injured guys in the entire league.
By the way, I saw you always see these rumors of guys like that, like this trade will work out great for this is the guy the Knicks should go after, and the guy they thought the Knicks should trade for, Vucevic on the Bulls. That's what the Knicks need. Another center that can't play defense. That would be amazing.
It would be good for offense, but yeah, he's not good on defense.
We're already rated number one in offense. We're not going to outscore everyone. Like, we need defense. Do you think so? I guess you think that the fact that we have Towns at center is the reason we're. I mean, like, I guess obviously I guess having Towns at center has created an advantage, and that's why we're like a top offense basically. Is it worth the drawback of being being bottom 20 in or bottom 10 in defense?
So far, no. I mean, they're 12-8, which is fine.
Which is fine. It's a solid. I mean, it's 60%. It's a solid. You do this for the whole season, you almost win 50 games. But does it feel like a solid 12 wins? Have we really beaten a lot of good teams, or have we gotten lucky? Like teams have been missing players, and like there haven't been that many good wins. I feel like this season.
That's the thing. It's the schedule hasn't exactly been killer, and I don't know. I feel like this is a work in progress, and I'm looking forward to Mitch coming. It's not like I'm like, oh, we have the number one offense, we don't need Mitch. Like, I can't wait for Mitch to come back.
I can't wait to get goddamn Precious back. I just need more serviceable players on the floor. I still think also so much is solved if you have like Precious. If you put Precious at center, then you can move Hart to the bench. The bench looks stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Or you move Bridges to the bench. Though I don't know if it's a hard pill to swallow to trade 5 first-round picks for a guy and then have him go to the bench.
Right. I mean, you could give him the start. It's like starting and like makes the players feel good. But I mean, it's not like the Knicks haven't started a guy and then pulled him 2 minutes into the game. But didn't they do that? Like during one of the bad seasons, they kept starting. Who was it? Lance Thomas. They would start him and then not play him for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean the Knicks do weird. They did weird things. There were so many weird things they would do. But I remember Kurt Thomas when even the year they won 50 more games. I felt Kurt Thomas for a little while would just play a few minutes and then like not play the rest of the game, but start.
Yeah,
for a short spell. Either way, Bridges is going to play 30 plus minutes a game. It doesn't matter if he starts or comes off the bench. It just seems like if anything, it seems like Bridges would be the guy you'd want to sub off earlier, which I think like sub him off earlier and have him do more minutes with the bench unit where he could be like the focus of the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
By the way, in Bridges' coming out party last night, he still didn't go to the goddamn rim.
No.
Like he still didn't like shoot a free throw.
No, but he looked very confident in his shot.
He looks very confident in his like 7-foot fadeaway jumper. And it's good. He hits those shots a lot. And in some ways you're like, on the one hand, I see Towns sometimes. Towns was 4 for 12 last night. And I was like, hey, Towns, it's not crazy for you to pull it from 10 feet and just nail a shot instead of always going for contact at the rim and like doing like some harder shots that you're missing.
Yeah, I feel like he thought he had a mismatch and it just wasn't working out that way.
I wish Towns could just use a few more moves in his bag around the rim. Like, because sometimes I'm like scoring, like he's an awesome force, but I feel like scoring could be even easier for him at times. because he's just such a good shooter.
By the way, there was twice this season where I bet the over on Towns points, and in those two games he scored 16 and 14.
Don't please do that again. I need him. Could you bet the under?
He's averaging 25 points a game. He didn't even come close either time.
If the Knicks, okay, so this will be mean, but if the Knicks have another game 7 in the playoffs, I'm going to convince you to bet your life savings on the under for Towns. Because that way he'll go off for 100 points.
I know, right?
Don't you think Towns, so here's the thing, and I know this is not going to happen right now. It may be an experiment in the offseason, but wouldn't Towns be awesome with a hook shot?
There's a ton of centers that would be awesome with a hook shot. I really don't understand why nobody's really done it since Kareem.
Right. I don't understand why no one does it, but like Towns in particular has such a good eye that I feel like he would be like the guy to bring back the hook shot where you're like, he's become unstoppable with the hook shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange that nobody does it.
I get why guys don't shoot free throws between their legs. I get that. But the hook shot, goddamn hook shot back. Oh, I mean, can you think of one player who scored a lot of points with a hook shot? Okay, yes, maybe the all-time leader. But beyond that, or second all-time. By the way, on a totally unrelated note, or just related to, there was a clip online about, there was a Julius Randle clip where they said, hey, watch this play and just tell me how bad it, Randall's body language is so bad in this play. He's pouting so much. How dare he do this? And then you watch the play, and Randall does absolutely nothing wrong.
It was just a normal play. Like, he passed the ball, and then the game ended, and he clapped. And everyone's like, look, he's pouting. Get rid of him.
There were like a million views of this video on Twitter or X, whatever. And I was like, I don't get it. Randall, no other player gets judged by his body language as much as Randall. It's absurd.
It's very strange. I didn't understand it. I asked for clarification and nobody responded to me. Like, I don't understand what everybody was even talking about.
So my understanding is Timberwolves fans, I mean, they're not having a great year. And Timberwolves fans are kind of pissed off about Randall and they're pissed off about DiVincenzo. People are like, people are like, Randall, he's been garbage. And I'm like, I mean, he's kind of putting up borderline all-star numbers again. But if you say he's been garbage, fine.
Well, the thing is, they made the conference finals last year. They're below 500 now. You have to blame somebody, and they're going after the new guy. I also think it's trendy to hate on Randall, just like people say Tibbs doesn't play the new guys when, like, 2 years ago the entire roster was 25 and under. I think once something becomes trendy to say, like, everybody just jumps on it.
Right. I mean, like, I like Towns. Towns complains to the referees. Towns does a lot of the same stuff that Randall does, but people don't make the same complaints. They're not complaining about Towns complaining about no one's bitching about Towns complaining to the referees. No one's bitching about Towns not playing defense, besides me.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's wild.
I mean, Towns is an awesome force on offense, and, like, Minnesota was stupid to trade him, but, yeah. Also, R.J. Barrett has been putting up some pretty good numbers in Toronto. He's had some, like, ups and downs this season, but I am happy for how well he's playing. Are you happy, Jay?
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care at all. Really don't. They're 6 and 15. It's not translating to wins, so whatever.
No, Amanda quickly hasn't. I think has he played one game yet this year?
No, he hasn't. But, like, if their entire season hinges on Quickly, then I don't know what to say.
I thought we're just doing a segment. We're checking in on old Knicks. Obi Toppin putting up solid bench minutes for Indiana, and that's around the league with ex-Knicks.
Jimmy said he's looking forward to seeing OG versus Franz. I mean, Franz has been going off lately, so it'll be interesting to see if OG can shut him down. Yeah,
Franz I always thought he was a really good player. I felt like when Paolo got there, people kind of started saying I think Paolo played better. I don't know. I always thought Franz was like an all-star level player, and he's looking like that this season. And it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, this will be a good, like, gauge of where the Knicks are at in the conference.
Right. There's not, like, I mean, they're missing Paolo, but they've won 10 of 11. Like, the Knicks, this is a game. If they win tomorrow night, I'll be like, okay, the Knicks look pretty good. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
If they lose, I'll be like, oh, I'm still kind of concerned about this team.
Right. Exactly.
It seems like, and I mentioned this last episode with their win over Denver. It seems like when the Knicks are on and they're hitting their shots, they're really unbeatable. But not unbeatable, but they're really like tough to beat. But it's really counting on a lot of guys just making a lot of shots. And like shots can be fluky. Like everyone hitting their threes, like your team's shooting at over 45% on threes. Doesn't happen that often.
Well, that's what happens when your defense stinks. So they like they have the best offense, so when they're hitting their shots they win, but they can't sustain a cold shooting night with the defense the way it is right now. So
right. And even like against a terrible Charlotte team, the Knicks just weren't hitting as many shots, and like you're struggling against like just a flat out inferior team.
yeah.
It is concerning. I'm worried, but maybe they'll beat Orlando. Maybe the defense. I mean, like, I guess last night was a good defensive performance. I mean, you held New Orleans to 85 points. So, how happy are you the Knicks never got Zion?
So happy. I mean, I always thought he was injury concerned, but holy crap! It's like people worried about Mitch. Can you imagine if the Knicks had Zion?
They were talking about, maybe it was during the broadcast last night, talking about they were talking about how they're talking about how healthy Zion's been. They're like, and last year in a contract year, he played most of the games. Now he's out again. He got his big contract. Now he's done again.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're New Orleans, like you should have traded Zion a while ago. Like you should have this offseason, you should have said he played a full season. He's never gonna play a full season again. Let's trade him right now.
Yeah, it would have been a good idea. Instead, now you're paying him $40 million a year for that. Starting this year.
You cannot win a game. You cannot do anything in the NBA if you're paying a guy $40 million a year not to be on the floor.
Yeah, it's crazy. Not only that, he doesn't even look as explosive as when he does play. Like he doesn't even look like he used to.
No, he doesn't. I mean, like the injuries, like have like he looked like he was going to be an absolute superstar. Now, like, how would you rank that draft now? Who was the number one pick there? Do you really want Zion number one? Do you really? No. I guess Ja, but I guess you assume Ja now plays.
Yeah. I mean, Ja's a little banged up, but I'd still take him first.
Yeah. Then you take the guy in Cleveland.
Garland.
You take Garland next. I don't know who else came after that draft. I guess you do RJ almost third, and then Zion fourth.
I might even do Hunter.
Hunter hasn't been that great either.
He's tearing it up lately, though.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's been very injury prone, but when he's healthy, the Hawks win games, and he looks really good.
Is anyone in that draft not injury prone? I guess besides RJ, everyone's injury prone or like
no. RJ missed a lot of games when he was with New York.
Yeah, what is that? Is that draft cursed?
Could be. It's not. I mean, it falls off really hard after that. I mean, I guess you'd go after Zion, Hero.
Yeah. Is it pronounced Hero or Hero?
I don't know. Hero, whatever.
It's got to like. It sounds so much better if it's Hero. The New Orleans also they traded for DeJounte Murray, which seems like it has not worked out already. He's missed a ton of games, and the guy they gave the Atlanta looks like a better player.
Yeah. Goga is looking really good.
Goga?
Yeah.
Who's that?
He's in Orlando, the center. Goga Bitadze.
Oh, the guy that what's his last name again?
Bitadze.
Knicks fans we wanted we were talking about who to go after. The Knicks fans were interested in getting him.
He's been He's been looking really good.
Has he?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. He's on my fantasy team, and he's one of the better guys on my team. Actually, it's crazy.
Oh, he's only putting up 8 points a game. I'm looking at now, and 7 rebounds a game. But he's probably been playing pretty well as of late. Right?
Also, look at his steals and blocks.
2 blocks a game, 1 steal a game. That's pretty good for a center.
Yeah, yeah, and he gets a couple
Uh,
assists. So,
yeah, that helps.
and he's
That
hitting his
helps.
free throws. I mean,
Well,
he's doing
that's
good.
now he's just showing off.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So what else do you want to say about these games? I guess you want to say anything else about these games? The Knicks blew out the Pelicans. That was great, and they had two frustrating games beyond that.
Andrew said Kobe White is a good player from that draft. Yeah, Kobe White was. If we kept that going,
Yeah.
I would have had White, and then it really falls off PJ Washington maybe. Like
Yeah, Kobe White's been pretty good, and I think he'll be good going forward.
it's hard to even get to like 10 in that draft.
That draft looked like it was such a strong draft, and now you're like, not such a great draft.
I mean, Claxton, like you're going into the second round now.
Yeah.
Claxton and Gafford from the second round.
Yeah, no, not great, not great. Um,
We got an email.
do it.
nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. And this is from Sam. He said, "Hey guys, after that Mikel Charlotte game, would you look into Bridges for Marcus Smart or Jaren Jackson Jr.? I'm hoping it's growing pains like iHeart when he had first arrived and was playing a crap and turned it around after calling himself out to the media. I would not do that.
You went to him for Jaren Jackson would be interesting, but I don't think there's no way Memphis is doing that.
It's just, I mean, we're worried about like injury-prone players, right?
Right, Jackson's injured a lot, but Jackson. So anyway, it doesn't make any sense to get Marcus Smart, but Jaren Jackson would be an interesting player. But you're right, he's injured a lot also, so it would make no sense. Like Miguel Bridges literally does not miss a game.
Right. He's never missed a game.
Yeah, I mean he is Iron Man. He's the Cal Ripken of basketball. Who's the record? Was it AC Green, who's played over 1,000 games in a row?
Yeah, but there was what's his name? He played like I think 9 straight seasons without missing a game, and then he got a tech that gave him a 1-game suspension, and it ruined his streak. He would
Green.
No, it wasn't Green. It was Andre Miller.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, he
That's
played
a bullshit reason. Your streak can't end because you were suspended.
right. Yeah,
I mean, or maybe it can. I don't know, but it seems like a bullshit reason for it to end.
yeah, he played like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it was like 7 or 8 straight games, seasons.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's yeah. What do you think? So every year, I feel like the Knicks give up a lot of 3-point shots, and everyone gets crazy. But by the end of the year, the Knicks 3-point defense ends up looking pretty good, right? The
Yeah.
drop coverage, they let guys shoot, and it always seems to work out.
Sorry, I just want to say in his first 14 seasons, he never played less than 80 games.
Who's this?
Andre Miller.
Oh, I mean, Andre was a good player, also.
Yeah. So 3-point defense. What are you saying?
I was saying every year, don't you feel like every year around this point in the year, or like for the first 2 months, everyone's like, why aren't the Knicks covering the 3-point line? Why are they not covering the 3-point line?
Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, the Knicks end up having one of the better 3-point defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tibbs needs to adjust, or will that just happen? By the end of the year, like teams will just stop making their shots, and the Knicks 3-point defense will end up looking pretty good.
They do have to make a little bit of adjustment, but I still think it's just that 2 of their better defenders are not playing yet.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But I'm just saying they always do this drop coverage. They don't always like guard like they don't seem like they're always, every year it seems like they're not guarding the 3-point line. Isn't it like a common complaint we make about the Knicks?
Yeah. Every year we say it.
Every year. Last year the Knicks were actually last year the Knicks gave up 36.5% of the threes they were taking. So that's not amazing actually.
Mm-hmm.
The year before, I thought the year before was better. Maybe I'm wrong. The year before, the Knicks were giving up the 3-point percentage. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. The Knicks were 12th last year. Okay, where are they this year? What do you think?
Say 15th.
Okay, this year they are giving up They're 22nd. They're giving 36.8% of the 0.8% 3-point shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's a high number.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good. This defense, like, yeah, it's not great. Yeah, there's no. I know. I was looking through. I'm like, is there any like glimmers of light on their defense? And I don't see any glimmers of light. There's no stats where you're like, oh well, this looks good.
Jay Shady wants to know if we'll ever see $100 million a year player.
Yeah, that probably will happen, but like 10 years from now or 15 years from now, inflation, like things will go up.
It depends what the next TV deal is like. I don't know how they're still getting these crazy TV deals. Like the ratings are down, and every time they do a new TV deal, it's higher than the last one.
Well, because the networks or the cable companies are like, we need to like, you need live sports. Like sports become like, so important because people, no one else is watching. The only way to like, at least live sports has commercials.
Yeah, I'm like, the only reason I have cable is for sports, and I think there's a lot of people like,
a lot of people are like that.
I would be shitting my pants if I was watching like Amazon getting some football games, and like Netflix is toying around with some live events now. Like they got to be like, yeah, we need to lock these contracts down.
That's why, like, there's so much money in this that, like, they're like, we need live events, and the only kind of live events really are sports.
Yeah, I mean, boxing's pretty much dead, and UFC is like in its own thing. Like,
so I saw this thing: the 100 highest rated shows of the last year.
Oh wait, let me guess. Let me guess. Like half of them are football.
No.
Okay.
96 of them are football.
Oh really?
It's something like 90. I forget the exact number. It was like 95% of them are football or college or NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, here are the rest of them. There is the Emmys, I think the debates, and the Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Jesus.
I think there's one other thing also, but like there really aren't. There's just nothing else. It's like live events and like the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Apparently, 20 million people watch that a year. They said like with streaming, it's like 28 million.
Huh.
And like everyone, that's one of those things also where like no one like I don't even know why you watch the Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV, but like that's something that like my wife will just turn that on in the background.
Yeah,
like,
I think a lot of people
like,
do
it's
that.
Thanksgiving, you just put it on the background. You're not really watching intently, but you're like, oh, I'll put that on. It's Thanksgiving, I'll put the parade on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with NBA basketball, but it just means like basically these live events are so. Yeah, at some point it's going to be $100 million contracts. Here's the thing. I guarantee the first $100 million contract in the history of the NBA will be given to a player who will be injured and no longer able to play for the Knicks. The Knicks are like, well, if we didn't have to pay this one guy, if we didn't have to pay LeBron's cousin's kid $100 million a year, we'd be a good team. We have no salary cap because he takes half of it.
I mean, we're already going to see $65 million, right? So we're not that far off.
Yeah, I mean, the leagues are making a ton of money, obviously. It's not like the leagues are like, oh, how are we going to ever pay these guys $60 million a year? They're like, well, we have billions. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it is kind of crazy. So what does the schedule look like going forward for the next week?
It's not too bad. Not too bad. So you got Orlando tomorrow. Thursday is Charlotte. Saturday's Detroit. And Monday is Toronto.
Okay. I am going to go to the Saturday game.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, my daughter really wants to go. I always take my son. He's like been like, I think she just sees the fact that he's going to Knicks games and like she's like, I want to do that also without knowing anything about what it's like. I feel like she'll be bored the whole game, but like she just wants to be there because she gets to go. So we're gonna go as a family, which means take the average insane price of a Knicks ticket, multiply it by 4, and that's how miserable I'll be Saturday nights.
Well, right now tickets are as low as $112.
$112? That's not bad, actually. I'm
sure.
looking at the price. All I want to do is pay under $200 a ticket. I'll be happy and get like. I just need. You also have to have semi-decent seats. Like they don't have to be amazing, but I want like upper twos towards the middle where you can kind of see the whole court, basically.
It's like next week they have a 3-game road trip. tickets as low as 34, 34, and 19. And then they go back to New York. It's 206 and 281 for the lowest tickets.
Wow. Okay, so this next, you're right. The schedule looks pretty. So they got Magic, then they got just repeat your schedule, but Hornets, Pistons, and at least the Raptors before our next show.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a given for 3-1 at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope for 4-0, expect 3-1.
I mean, the Hornets are bad. Pistons.
And Ball's injured again.
I'm going to demand my money back if the Knicks lose to the Pistons. I don't know how the Pistons have 9 wins. It doesn't even make any sense. The team is bad.
Yeah.
And the Raptors, like, oh, woe is me. What's RJ going to do tonight?
Yeah, no, it should be 3 easy wins.
What do you think is going to happen when RJ puts up like 40 points against the Knicks and the Raptors win? Like, it's going to like Knicks Twitter is going to explode.
I'm going to log out for at least 48 hours. I'm not going to be able to deal with that nonsense.
There's an account Jay and I like to hate follow, Tommy D. He has just craziest opinions, and he's the guy that was he started Knicks blog. He was big in the Knicks world for a while. Something I don't know what happened with that, but now he seems like a very bitter Knicks fan, and he only posts about players that are no longer on the Knicks. And he's basically just been hating on the Knicks ever since RJ left.
Yeah.
He posted 3 like the other day. He posted three tweets about RJ and no mention of the Knicks having a blowout victory.
So the schedule has no game scheduled for 10 straight days. That's because of the stupid in-season tournament, right?
Oh, when is this? What are you looking at?
Between December 9th and the 19th, there's no game scheduled. There's no way they have 10 days off. Like, I think they're holding the schedule to see who comes out of this stupid tournament. Another reason to hate this stupid tournament.
People were shitting on LeBron. So LeBron, Lakers got eliminated. And he just said the tournament doesn't matter. And people were like, oh, LeBron, you were like celebrating last year when you won the tournament. Now it doesn't matter. You know what? Like, instead of hating on LeBron, why don't we just say this whole tournament's stupid? Like, the NBA should just retire the tournament. This should be the last year the tournament happens.
What needs to happen is everyone needs to just not watch the elimination round games. Especially the finals game. Yeah, don't watch that finals game. If the ratings are low, it'll go away.
Is there any way they can make... The thing is, because they're regular season NBA games, you can't really put any rule changes to make it, like, more interesting. But there should be a rule change to make it more interesting.
I have a rule change to make it more interesting. Eliminate it.
No.
There's nothing you could do to make a nonsense tournament that means nothing more interesting.
What if you... didn't allow
threes? No threes allowed.
That would be interesting. Oh, how about this? You're allowed to defend a 3-point shot. Just get rid of all the dumb rules the NBA has. Like, touch fouls are no longer called.
Just do the tournament is 90s rules.
It's 90s rule. That would be amazing. That would be really amazing.
That I might watch. Because I'm getting sick of how every game is just a 3-point contest now.
That would be amazing. 90s rules. What else could you do?
I mean, it doesn't really count for anything, right? So you can just get crazy. You could do like the rock and jock where you have the smaller
the final game doesn't count.
The smaller basket that's like 10 feet above the regular basket, and make that like 10 points.
Make it all on trampolines, like that
slam
MTV,
ball,
like jam ball, slam ball.
Slam ball.
What else could you do? Oh, I got it. Allow goaltending.
I mean, the score would be like 4-2.
It'd be hilarious though. Actually, remember that the Russian basketball where if you remember the rules were you were allowed to travel, and if you took your shirt off, you're allowed to body slam your opponent.
Yes.
If you added body slamming like into the game, that would be a fun thing.
That would be.
Or what if you just play with 12-foot rims?
Andrew wants they should bring in stray elbows are encouraged.
How about this? You yeah, it just sucks. I don't know what you can do. You know what the NBA should do, by the way, just for the All-Star game, or just make something else more interesting? They should mix in the WNBA with the NBA. Like have the All-Star, have like the All-Star like at all times you have to have 2 girls on the court for you.
And a celebrity. You just want the celebrity game.
Yeah, have them all. You here for the All-Star game? They're trying to change formats.
Yeah.
And what was it? Did you hear about the change in format?
Yeah, there's going to be like 4 teams, and it's going to be tournament style.
And one of the teams is going to be like all the young players, like the rookie and second years,
Yeah, which I don't like that.
which they're just going to try to embarrass the veterans into playing hard.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the theory behind it, but it's also like, okay, now you're making these you're reserving spots for all-star spots for like guys who just got into the league. I don't know.
So maybe so when you're playing co-ed, like every possession, a woman has to touch the ball before you could score.
I just do away with it. It's terrible.
Uh,
At
you
least
don't-
we got
you don't
ugly
think
courts though.
You don't think it'd be interesting? Yeah, you don't think it'd be interesting if they made it co-ed, like for the All-Star game?
I to tell you the truth, I pretty much lost interest in the whole All-Star weekend. The dunk contest hasn't been good in a long time, and the best dunker never wins. And
The
then
dunk contest has been terrible. Yeah, the three-point shooting contest is the only one that's interesting.
it is, but even they're making that too gimmicky. Like how many different green balls, and now they have a
Yes.
Super Bowl, and like it's too much. They're adding way too much garbage to it.
Okay, here's a simple change. The only rule change you make is that there's a three-point shot and a dunk is also worth 3.
Okay,
That makes it a little more interesting.
I know how to make the All-Star weekend better though. Lock Reggie
I-
Miller out of the building. Instant upgrade.
How about the entire game? Josh Hart gets to roast Reggie Miller.
Miller's mic is turned off, and he just has to sit there and listen to it.
The entire broadcast is just guys roasting Reggie Miller.
Yeah, you just have a rotating cast. You have Bill Burr come in. Everybody just takes turns. It's a 3-hour roast of Miller.
And the game is going on the whole time, and they make no reference to the game.
Kind of like this podcast where we've made no reference to the Knicks in about 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. I guess like we should go back to talking about the Knicks. Okay, so the Knicks should have an easy week ahead. We should be very happy next show. If the Knicks go 2-2, I am going to lose it by the next show. Next show is going to be an angry show because like there's no way the Knicks can go 2-2 with this schedule.
With this team and this schedule, yeah, really, it would be very disappointing if they were 2-2.
And by the way, I guess they had that break, but then the 19th, the Knicks play the T-Wolves, which is going to be, I'm super excited to see that game.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
You know, Randall's going to try and just embarrass the hell out of the Knicks.
Yeah, and it'll be the first game Dante will be motivated to play.
True. Yeah.
I don't. Dante's numbers have been terrible this season. I have to assume with both Dante and Randall, like they're just like, I can't believe we're playing in Minnesota. I can't believe we're playing in Minnesota. Oh God, I can't believe we're playing in Minnesota. And at least Randall's like, well, my contract's up after this season. I don't have to play in Minnesota. Where Dante's like, I've got 2 more seasons. Holy shit, I got 2 more seasons.
So Stefan Bondi just reported that Precious will probably be ready in the next week.
I am so excited. I cannot believe how excited I am and how important I think it is to get Precious on the floor.
Yeah. So maybe not before next episode, but we'll probably have news by next episode of him coming back imminently. So very exciting.
I mean, the games get a little harder after next week. So, like, you really need him back soon, but, like, they can get by another week without Precious.
Yeah, just the fact that he's that close, it's good news. Very good news.
Right. And Precious, again, is not, like, it's funny because, like, he was an afterthought in that trade, and now we're like, holy shit, we need Precious back.
Yeah. Yeah. So, something to look forward to. Not really any news on Mitch yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little while. Anything else Knicks wise you want to cover? Do you want to cover? I mean, do we need to do an update of our under overs, or we can wait till next show?
We can wait till next show.
Yeah, we don't do that every week.
Yeah.
By the way, how's your fantasy team doing?
Okay. Won 3 weeks, lost 3 weeks. So I'm in 8th out of 14.
Who is your best draft or who your best pickup on that team? Who has exceeded expectations?
Well, out of guys that I did not draft and picked up off the waiver, Goga I think has been awesome. My MVP of my team is probably Fox. Other than the turnovers, Cade's been awesome.
Okay. By the way, Sacramento's not that good this year.
No, they're way worse than I thought they'd be. Jonas has got to get traded. The guy's putting up almost a double-double in like 18 minutes a game. I don't know what Washington's doing.
I don't know what Washington's doing. I don't know what a lot of teams are doing. But it's a weird year. Like, I think teams are – no one's really tanking anymore, I feel like, because everyone's like, well, there's that guy Cooper Flag, everyone thinks that you should tank for, but the tanking rules are so messed up that you just want to be bad. You don't have to win and lose every game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so but Washington completed no-win November. And I don't like the fact that the draft rewards teams that just go all in on Poole and Kuzma, and now they have the best chance of getting the best player next year. Like, I don't like that.
Well, Kuzma's supposed to be a good player. Jordan Poole is just like, I don't think they traded for Jordan Poole to be like, this will get us a top draft pick. Like,
they made bad decisions and now they're being rewarded for it. I don't.
Yeah, but you don't want the same teams to be terrible for year in and year out. Like
they are though. When was
being a Jet fan? Does everyone need to be a Jet fan? No. I took my son to see the Jets on Sunday. Holy shit, the Jets are an absolute embarrassment.
But you keep rewarding these teams, and they're still an embarrassment. So, like, what's the point?
I don't know. I mean, like, the NBA says they keep doing that, but then, like, Victor Wembanyama is on San Antonio.
Well, I'm glad Spurs got a break because, they've been bad for so long. No one needs a break more than
the Spurs. The Spurs have had 3 bad seasons in, like, 40 years, and they get Wembanyama.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't like it. Flatten the odds.
Well, I think they did flatten the odds, right?
Not like flatten. Like the worst record can't fall below 4th. Let them fall to 14th. Who cares?
Well, do you really want like the best team? Like, do you want the Celtics somehow to get like they get Cooper Flag? That wouldn't be fun.
No, do it for every team that misses the playoffs.
So everyone team that misses the playoffs just have flat odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, I guess. But then you have some teams tanking to avoid the playoffs because they're like, well, the 11th seed is we were shot the #1 pick versus like just being like in the play-in tournament.
So do it flat odds for everybody who's not in the play-in tournament. I mean, there's no way to do it where like nobody ever is going to tank, but like, are you really going to tank for like a 4% chance? Like, wouldn't you rather make the playoffs than like you have a 4% chance?
Yeah, I mean, right. You're right. The odds don't seem that great. Yeah, they should flatten it, I guess. That's fine.
Like if you have 14 teams with the odds flat, like what do you have, a 6% chance? 7% chance?
The,
like
the only team that ever won by tanking has been the Spurs.
Right.
The Spurs tanked twice. Like no one else. Like they Philly is like, in retrospect, the process sucked because Embiid never plays.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't help that they completely whiffed on the other 2 players they drafted when they tanked.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, most bad teams also whiff on draft picks also.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason they're bad. They make bad decisions, and that includes the draft.
The good teams are bad for a short period of time, get a good draft pick, and then move back to being good.
Yeah.
Dallas is like, we'll be bad briefly, get Doncic and go back to being good.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, I am right now, from 1 to 10, how optimistic are you about this Knicks team?
I am about a 7. I am optimistic, and I think things are going to look very different when Precious and Mitch come back. But I am slightly concerned about the fit with all those guys.
And maybe a better question is from 1 to 10, with 10 being insanely concerned and 1 being like, I'm cool as a cucumber. How are you feeling about the current team?
I'm like a 3 or 4. Mildly concerned.
5 or 6. This defense really, I think things will get better. I think you're right about like those guys coming back. I'm getting worried about this team. Even though they just blew out a very bad team, I have not been impressed at how they look against good teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our numbers would drastically change if they just got stomped by Orlando tomorrow. Like, I'd be back up to like a 7.
If the Knicks go 2-2 over the next 4 games, I'm going to be at 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I trust in Tibbs. He's a good coach. He'll figure this shit out.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, especially if Bridges did have a turning point. Like, defense isn't going to matter as much if the Knicks are just
Right, if
going
they're hitting
nuts
their
like this.
shots.
Yeah.
If no one misses shots, you're right. They're going to win.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
If Bridges shoots 7 for 12 every game from 3, I think we'll be okay.
I mean, really, he should average like 5 for 12, which would still be really good.
That would be great.
I mean, that's like his career average. So
if he could make 4 to 5 threes a game, that would be phenomenal. Do that. Find some way to draw some contact to get to the line. Like, would be good.
yeah. All right, so we'll be back maybe Tuesday of next week. Talk about this 4-game streak. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com is our email. We are nyknickspodcast on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, and Twitter. And we are also nyknickspodcast on YouTube. And was that everything? I think that was everything.
I think so.
Oh, we have a
so. What
Discord.
about
The link to the Discord is on all the socials there.
Jay, would you do an OnlyFans? Like, should we do a Knicks OnlyFans page? There's a woman making $41 million this year on OnlyFans.
I know.
Do you think the Knicks podcast on OnlyFans could make close to $41 million?
Probably not. No.
You don't think so? You don't think we should give it a shot?
You go first. So we
Could
also
you
have
explain the work? Listen, it's just the Knicks podcast. We're only doing Knicks content on OnlyFans.
we also have another show called The Brink of Sanity, and we are interviewing an ex-Playboy centerfold next Wednesday. So
if she responds to Jay's email.
they did already.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday.
Confirmed. Next Wednesday at 7. The Brink of Sanity. You could follow at Brink of Sanity on YouTube and Brink of Sanity 3 on Twitter. And
What's her name?
check that out. Her name is putting me on the spot here. Her name is. I have like 4 emails open. Her name is Charlotte Kemp.
Okay. Cool. Everyone look up Charlotte Kemp for the next Brink show.
Yes.
Including me.
Do your research. All right. So
her name is Carmen Electra. You heard Carmen Electra?
all right. So thanks for listening, and we will be back next week.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye.